Larry plus
Oh, cool.
Miss Tommy's wife.
Am I brighter now?
No, you're still looking good. I always can't carry backups, but we were talking about basketball, high school,
Yeah, Chatham
middle
Middle.
school, and oh yes, you're talking about how you were with the same class with the PE teacher.
Yeah, I was in the same class with this PE teacher. We were doing our station drills on Friday, and I had this idea for a song, and I went to the other guy, and I said, "How about you looking after everybody for a few minutes?" He said, "Fine." So he ran the he'd blow the whistle and have everybody move, and I ran over the scores table and wrote down the words to the song that I'd thought of, and it turned out to be the first song that anybody besides my band ever recorded that I'd written.
Well, who recorded?
Well, the first band that recorded was a band called Brothers from Bluegrass, who were a popular band in the Raleigh and sliding over into eastern North Carolina a little bit back in the 70s. And they recorded it. They had asked me if I had some songs, and I'd given them 2 or 3, and they chose to record that one. And did a great job of it, I thought. And then a few years back, I'm going to say about 8 or 9 years ago, I got a call from a member of a band called Chicken Grass, and he said, "Do you know a song called Cold Frosty Window?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Who wrote that?" I said, "I did." He said, "Really?" He said, "Yes." "We just recorded it, and we got it from," and he told me the story, he got it from the other band that had recorded it and didn't know I did it.
So how many songs have you written? Because again, the part I read said you like to think of yourself more as a songwriter. So.
Well, I think it's probably something I do better than I do some of the other things I do. I hope I'm a passable singer, and I hope I play guitar well enough to support what I sing and what the band plays. But seems like the songwriting, at least these days, seems to be on the level of what some of the other songwriters that I know that are professionals are doing, and they seem to appreciate it, and I appreciate their work, and that kind of thing. So I'm still learning every day, but I like to tell stories.
So we talked about the longest it took you to write a song. What's the shortest you ever wrote a song?
That one on the scores table was just about complete in about 15 to 20 minutes.
And you mentioned you're a storyteller. So when you're writing a song, do you start off with the lyrics, or do you start off with a story? Do you start off with a theme? When does the music match up with the story and the lyrics?
With me, it really, really varies. I kind of feel like I'm a quarterback. You get the ball, you can throw it, you can hand it off, or if you're desperate, you can punt it. And I feel like I'm in that position. Whereas maybe I have a tune. I mean, I wake up every morning, there's tunes going through my head. It's like this thing's playing. So yeah, I'm crazy. And so, but if I have a tune that I'm interested in, or if I'm playing the guitar and something comes to mind, and I record the tune, then I may come back later and fit words to it. Another time I may have something I might want to write a song about, say Blackbeard the Pirate. And I've done the North Carolina album, or some of I know when I was working on the North Carolina album, I felt like it would really be nice to have a song about the Manco Station Light, which was a ghost story from down in the Brunswick County area.
You did one on the train that you performed at the Bynum store.
That was Midnight Run. That's
right.
That one. I fell in love with the story of that particular train, the Silver Meteor, when my aunt, who was teaching school in New York after she graduated from Columbia Law School, graduate school, she came back to North Carolina, and a year or two later, since she had there was information about her in New York, and during World War II they were needing teachers men folk were going off and there weren't as many men teachers. So she went back up to Hyde Park, New York, and taught school there from about 1942 to around 1970. And so she was always riding trains home, and I would get to see all these wonderful trains, but I never got to see the Silver Meteor. So I had this image of it in my mind, and I wrote the song about it.
You also wrote one about the Devil's Tramping
Ground? Yeah, that's there are several songs about that, but one of the songs that I really like about it was written by a guy that is an incredible tenor singer named Russell Johnson. He runs the Bluegrass music ensemble program in Carolina. Great singer, fine player, and good guy and good friend. But the song he wrote has a lot of high notes in it, and it was not something that would be comfortable for me to sing. And so I thought, if I'm doing North Carolina album, I better do something about the main attraction in my county. And so I wrote one about Devil's Tramping Ground.
What songs are you working on this week? I've been writing some, but I haven't been writing anything much this week. I did stumble a little bit on working on a song about someone who, there are a lot of popular themes of going home and losing your girlfriend, and your dog died, and all all the joke and stuff. But there are themes that keep recurring in popular folk, bluegrass, blues, whatever. And I was writing. I had seen a movie on Turner Movie Channel about a woman who had come to a town and arrives on the bus and has a bad experience and leaves on the bus, and the whole movie was about everything that happened in between. And I'm thinking, in my mind, it's the 40s or the 50s, and somebody's going to get on the bus and go home. So I've been writing a song about paid for my ticket and got on the bus and wondering how things are going to be when he gets back, or that sort of thing. A little bit on that, but I've been concentrating on some of my playing because I've had time to sit down and work on specific licks, see if I could play this note better or this passage better, that sort of thing. The other thing you're doing now, or I don't know if you're doing this during the quarantine period, but you also do a radio show. That
I do it every week. I go to Sanford on Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes on Friday, and record the radio program for broadcast on Saturday night. I guess I'm a little what's the word? But don't mean to. Not telling the tale, but we make it sound like it's Saturday night. In other words, say, well, tonight we're broadcasting, rather than saying, because it's for when it's broadcast. And which is a little disturbing if you call the station and want to make a request or something, because I'm not there.
Just tell them the lines are jammed.
The lines are jammed.
We aren't taking any more calls.
Yeah, we get a call every month or two. But the long and short of it, I do a two-hour show, and for several years we had established a process by which I could enter the numbers from the computer, put all the music in a computer, so I could call up a song, put it into the program format, and then just do the whole show with all the songs listed, and then I go back and play Foggy Mountain Breakdown, and I'll say, that was Foggy Mountain Breakdown, recorded in 1949 by Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs. That has just become a classic. Earl got 2 Grammys with that, with recordings of that song. Up next, we've got Gene Gallen. He's going to sing for you, and then I introduce the next song. Or I might do 2 or 3 in a row and then say, well, that was, and then try to amplify a little bit about who did it, what was interesting about it, maybe in the process, throw in a little history.
What station is that on?
Life 103.1 FM.
On Saturday?
On Saturday night, 7 to 9. And it's also live streamed on life1031.com.
Speaking about streaming, I know I had the opportunity to record you at the Bynum front porch when you came in there to do that special live stream because of the restrictions.
Yes.
You're also on YouTube, and you'll have your own Facebook page. And is there anything else that folks that are interested in? And I think you mentioned you're what, traditional American music? Is that what you refer to yourself as?
I just, that's a sort of a catch-all because it covers, you know, folks that play banjos and guitars and fiddles, and,
Okay.
and it can be Elizabeth Cotton singing Freight Train, or it can be might be James Taylor doing something that is a little folkier than his standard. But anything that sort of stays within that framework that has been developed over the years. If you go from the Carter family and the first people that recorded in Bristol in the 1920s, the Stonemans and Jimmy Rogers, and carry it on, and so those of us that are a little more traditional than others, we might not be able to footnote everything that we're doing, but you can often see if you know much about the history of the music, you can perhaps hear or see the antecedents in something I play that may have come from not a theft necessarily, but an influence.
Right.
What do they like to say? It was informed by.
There you go. If someone's looking to see a schedule of where you're performing, or Bluegrass Experience, or what was the name of the other band that you're?
Carolina Lightning.
Carolina Lightning. Where's the best place that they can find that information?
The folks at Pinecone there in Raleigh, but that's the Piedmont Traditional Music Organization, and they're the folks that put on the big, have so much to do with the big festival in Raleigh every year, the biggest bluegrass festival, it's the biggest event in downtown Raleigh every year. And they're heavily involved with that. And they publish a newsletter that comes out by mail once a month, and they also have at least weekly listings that they publish in their email newsletters. So that's a good place to find out where some of them are. If anybody wants to contact me personally at Tommy Edwards Bluegrass, Tommy Edwards Bluegrass at gmail.com. I will send you a monthly schedule of where we're playing.
There you go, folks.
And
that's where you can find out.
There you go.
From the man himself. We've got about 10 minutes left on this.
So you're going to sing?
Card. No, I'm not going to sing. Actually, what was interesting for me to ask you about is earlier on in this interview process, you had discussed that you have 20 to 40 songs that are unpublished that you would love to somehow figure out what to do with. What are some of the things you've thought about, or somebody happens to be watching this interview, you know, how could we get that music off of your pages and out into the public? What are your thinkings? What are your options?
Well, one thing I've been thinking about that, as next year's the 50th anniversary of the band, I've been thinking about putting together an anthology album, which, at least because CDs are not too expensive to manufacture, we could probably get a reasonable amount of them made, and maybe do a special order pre-sale of 200 or 300 records, and I would think it would probably have to be a 2-record set to do everything I would like to do. I don't know if I'll get to it. I don't know if we'll be able to. There's you know, you have to pay the royalties on the songs that you're doing of other people's songs. Some of the recording quality on some of our early stuff may not. I think we can boost it up and make it sound better, but that's just one thing I have in mind, and I think I could do some CDs, and since it's a special sort of thing, that people might be willing to go out on a limb and buy some things like that. And we could always I know some people have been doing a thumb drive. Buy the CD, you get a thumb drive. But as far as the other things, the latest stuff I've been working on, I've been thinking of, I've got one I'm working on, an instrumental that I'm thinking whenever I get everything recorded like I'd like to have it, I think I may release it as a single to Airplay Direct, just get it on the radio. And then if there's interest, maybe we could, hook it up with Amazon or whatever. I used to use a service called CD Baby, and they've gone out of business. So.
Yeah, a lot of stuff has moved off of physical to the streaming.
So I get a royalty check every year that shows a lot of downloads and stuff, but a cent and a half or 2 cents takes a long time.
Besides marrying your wife and having your kids.
Since I don't have any kids. I've got 4,000 kids,
You got
Gene.
4,000 kids.
Yeah.
What have been the biggest highlights of your musical career?
Well, as we were talking about earlier, meeting some of my heroes, getting to play some music with some of them from time to time. There's just, and sometimes when you're playing music, it may not be, you may not be playing with, you just may be playing with your friends, and it just, everything sounds so good. It's just a wonderful, marvelous moment. But as far as highlights, winning those 2 world championship guitar prizes, that was, I don't think I impressed myself, but it sure was fun. And I know that there were people there that were as good or better than I was, and just so happened it seemed like it was my turn. And I was I'm happy to have trophies at home to say world championships. And a lot of folks have got world championship trophies at their house. And winning the world championship band the second year that we had a band was just an amazing experience. And what it did for us, the next year or two, we were going to colleges all over this country as a world championship bluegrass band, playing concerts. And I'm talking about fraternity parties and stuff. I'm talking about concerts, sit down, thousands of people, and that sort of thing. But for an individual thing, probably around 72, when we were playing at the University of Tennessee, the old gym was full. People packed up against the stage, and we played, and then the national champion, the world champion bluegrass band played. Then the national champion cloggers came out and danced. We played for them. And then a young man named John Hartford, who had just left the Glenn Campbell show. He had been the banjo player on the show, and he had written a song that Glenn had recorded called Gentle on My Mind, which has been recorded by about 80 zillion people since then. Well, he was the big act on the show. And so we went downstairs in the gym and were packing up because, we very seldom stayed anywhere at night. Everybody in the band had a job. So we were packing up to go, and about 5 songs into John Hartford's set, he took a break and came back downstairs. He said, those people up there, they keep calling for you to come back. And I said, what? He said, yes. Yeah. Said, they don't much care for me. He said, they want y'all to come back. So would you play the rest of the show with me? I said, yeah. So our fiddle player had already jumped in the car and left. He was a pharmacist. He had to get home and get to work. The rest of us went back upstairs and played the whole show with John Hartford, who was, multi-Grammy winner and all that sort of thing in his career. But to go bail him out was pretty much fun. The stuff with the Blue Sky Boys and Elizabeth Cotton and getting to know them, that's a pretty major event in our musical history. And just having met so many wonderful people through the music, and going to Carolina and playing for and talking with undergraduate and graduate students, and being involved with the music and with the history of the music, and we've played every one of the bluegrass festivals in Raleigh. That's a mighty nice thing to step out on the stage on the street and see about 5,000 people out in front of you. Playing in Finland, we did the Finnish National Folk Festival, and were extremely well received. We were in their People magazine, we were in their national newspapers, we were on their radio and TV shows. And then we did, in 2007, the Steep Canyon Rangers, who played with Steve Martin, and us, and a couple of other bands, were American bands at the Appalachian and Bluegrass Appalachian Music and Bluegrass Festival in Omagh, Northern Ireland, which was voted Europe's best festival several times, and we were playing to large audiences, small audiences, having jam sessions every night with all the other professional musicians, even the ones from the Czech Republic and things like that. And so those are experiences I would have never had if I hadn't played music.
We have less than 5 minutes, so I think unless you've got something to wrap it up, my question to wrap it up is, what do you see as the future of bluegrass music?
That's a very good question. I see a lot of really good young bands. A lot of younger people are taking up the music. Just a few years ago, and I'll have to admit to pushing a little bit for it with the folks that I knew at Carolina, and not my responsibility at all, but just one of the voices saying we need, in this state, which has such a great history of traditional music, we need a program that teaches that. And now you can take instrument courses and bluegrass ensemble courses through the music department at UNC in Chapel Hill. You can't get a degree in it yet. You can get a friend of mine who has been very instrumental in getting a degree program for a minor at Appalachian. But you go to University, Kentucky, Morehead State, Berea. There are all these schools now that have, East Tennessee State's got a great program, that have bluegrass programs. And these people are coming out and they're going into bands that are already established. There's a lot of movement in the bands because, you know, this is not a big, as somebody said, there are tens of dollars to be made playing bluegrass. But, and there are a few bands that do really, really well, bluegrass bands, your Allison Krauss and people like that. But most of us are, you know, it's if not part-time, it's a lot of people I know that are full-time professional musicians teach. But those programs are putting a lot of people into the mainstream, and the young people bring ideas that I don't have, or even someone much younger like you wouldn't have, because they've listened to music. They didn't grow up listening to the Platters. They didn't grow up listening to Flat and Scruggs. They grew up listening to second and third generation bluegrass musicians and different kind of pop music. I mean, I've heard people do some great covers of Maroon 5 songs or Dean Martin songs. You know, just people, and that's one of the things we always did at our band. We would grab a song from anywhere. We'd do Delaney, Bonnie, Bonnie and Friends songs, or Bob Dylan, or I know we used to do a Rolling Stone song all the time. But you would have known Bill Monroe hadn't written it if you didn't know where it came from.
Tommy, thank you so much, folks. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed doing this with Mr. Tommy here.
Mr. Tommy's mighty honored that you took the time from your busy schedule to talk with me. I'm glad to share anything that you think someone would like to listen to.
Look, I think you're a part of Chatham County history, and just it's an opportunity to capture it and share it, not just with this generation and future generations. And hey, as you said, maybe one of those younger bluegrass musicians down the road will say, hey, I saw this interview with Tommy, and it kind of inspired me and let me know what his background is. And it seems that bluegrass thrives on just telling good stories.
There's a lot of that. That is the truth in the songs, and then when you're on the stage, getting ready to play them and sing them. A lot of storytelling.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.